Good morning. Thank you all for being here. I think we're ready to go. A few minutes late, but everything seems to be working all right. So I'm going to go ahead and call this session of the City of Ocean Shores Hearing Examiner to order. For the record, today is May 20th, 2025. It's about 10:06 a.m. My name is Yoshi Kumara. I'm a hearing examiner with Laminar Law, whom the city has selected to hold certain land use hearings. We have two items on the agenda today. Both requests for conditional use permits or CUPs. I'm going to go through a few procedural items, and then we can get started. So first, today it is my role to collect evidence in the form of exhibits and testimony to determine whether the proposals comply with the comprehensive plan, zoning ordinances, and the specific criteria for approval of a CUP. For evidence in the form of exhibits, I have reviewed and will admit all exhibits I received prior to the hearing. If there are additional exhibits that anyone would like admitted, just let me know when you are testifying. For testimony today, typically the order we will follow is first the city will provide an overview of the proposal along with any recommendations, and then we will hear from the applicant or applicant representative. After that, members of the public will have an opportunity to testify. And finally, following public testimony, we'll turn back to the applicant and to the city as necessary. All testimony today will be under oath or affirmation because were my decision to be appealed, the recording of today's hearing, along with the admitted exhibits and my written decision, would serve as the foundation for any such appeal. And with that, I think we can get started. The first matter on the agenda today is CUP 25000002, which is a request for a conditional use permit to allow for a 3-unit common wall residential structure on approximately 0.2 acre lot located at 413 Trustee Street Southwest to be subdivided to allow for individual unit ownership. In advance of today's hearing, I received and reviewed several exhibits, including the staff report prepared by city staff, the CUP application, various notice materials, and a written comment related to the notice materials. And I'll go ahead and admit these exhibits into the record today. And who do we have on behalf of the city today?
Thank you, Your Honor. Marshall Reed, the lead city planner.
Great. Mr. Reed, can I get you to raise your right hand, please? We'll get you sworn in. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in the testimony that you give here today?
I do.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Reed. And can you spell your name for the audio recording, and then you can go ahead.
Yeah, first name is Marshall, M-A-R-S-H-A-L-L. Last name Reed, R-E-A-D. And again, I serve as the lead planner for the city of Ocean Shores.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Go ahead.
All right, so the staff report for conditional use permit application CUP 000002 submitted by Paragon Homes. The applicant on this submittal is Larry Butler, serving as representative of the applicant. The date of submittal was May 9th, 2025. The date of the staff report, April 22nd, 2025. The purpose of this conditional use permit is for a multifamily moderate density zoned property for the purpose of building a 3-unit common wall residential structure and then subdividing it to allow individual ownership of each unit. The applicant is Paragon Homes, LLC at 112 Wainuchi Valley Road in Montesano, Washington. The project description, the name on this project is Paragon Homes, LLC. The legal description of the parcel is Division 16, Block 4 and Lot 24. Physical address is 413 Trustee Street Southwest. And this is an 8,688 square foot parcel. The zoning of the parcel is R7 multifamily. The land use designation from the comprehensive plan is multifamily medium density. The surrounding conditions in the zoning. All surrounding properties are zoned either R1, R7, or PR2. To the north, there's an R7 multifamily. To the south, an R7 multifamily. To the east, an R1 single family. And to the west, R7 multifamily. The land use designations from the comprehensive plan is high density to the north and south. To the east is single family, and to the west is high density. The existing land uses surrounding this parcel To the north, we have a single-family residence developed. To the south is an undeveloped parcel. To the east is a single-family residence developed. And to the west is a multifamily residence. The background, the property is located in the southwest quadrant of Ocean Shores in the multiple use division, surrounded by a mixture of residential, single-family occupancies, triplexes, multifamily uses, and undeveloped lots. There are several other multifamily structures in the immediate area. In the R7 zone, it is designated a conditional use for the development of a common wall residential structure where the underlying land is subdivided to allow individual ownership of the subdivided lot. This is pursuant to Ocean Shores Municipal Code, Title 17, 2830 in paragraph C. The hearing notices for this conditional use hearing, application 2502, scheduled for Tuesday, March 20th, 2025 at 10 o'clock, were sent to the owners within a 300-foot radius of the subject property on May 9th, 2025, as required by Ocean Shores Municipal Code 1752-090. The hearing information was also made available on the City of Ocean Shores website calendar at www.osgov.com. Attached were copies of the notice hearing, the mailing list. Notice of the public hearing was provided to the Daily World newspaper for publication in the May 6th and May 8th, 2025 editions. Staff analysis. Staff has determined that this development project is listed as a conditional use for this zoning district in Ocean Shores Municipal Code 1728. Conditional uses, section 1728-030. This is for a row house and other common wall residential developments. The subject property is located in an R7 zone. Multifamily dwellings are permitted in this zone under 1750-190 with a maximum density of 1 unit for every 1,800 square feet of lot size. The density regulations, two-family, multifamily dwellings shall have a minimum lot size of 7,200 square feet per dwelling unit. That's actually a mistype. The maximum density is 1,800 square feet per dwelling unit. The property before the subdivision is 8,994 square feet. As such, up to 4 dwelling units would have been allowed on this parcel. The proposed building can be approved as a permitted use, and the subject of this application is whether the land may be subdivided so that the individual lots and homes or units can be individually owned as opposed to being rented to tenants. The criteria for consideration of a conditional use permit. Before any conditional use permit is granted, the hearing examiner must determine the following. A, the use is either applied for, listed in the conditional uses allowed in the district, or that it was significantly similar to one or more of the listed uses. Approval of the permit would be substantially consistent with the purpose of the district and applicable provisions of the comprehensive plan, and would not adversely affect other uses and properties in the immediate vicinity. Also, that the granting of the permit would not reduce the dimensional requirements of the district, and that no nuisance to life, limb, or property will develop. The analysis, the code applied for is specifically listed in the conditional uses allowed in the district. The following may be allowed in the R7 zone, section 1728-030, upon approval of a conditional use permit in accordance with the provisions of 1752-040 and 1752-80, which outlines today's proceedings. Under paragraph C, row house and other common wall residential developments where the underlying land is subdivided to allow ownership of the individual lot and home. That's what this application requests today. Because the proposed 3-unit multifamily building is a permitted use under the zone, it's evident on its face that the building will be substantially consistent with the purpose of the district and applicable provisions of the comprehensive plan, and would not adversely affect other uses and properties in the immediate vicinity. The question, therefore, is whether subdividing the land into individual lots would also be substantially consistent with the purpose of the district and the comprehensive plan. This district is intended for moderate single-family and multifamily dwellings in order to assure adequate light, air, open space, privacy, and the protection of property values while providing affordable housing in the community. The the 2020 comprehensive land use map identifies the district as high density as follows. Description: the subdivision, short plats, replats, and or boundary line adjustments shall have a minimum lot size of 7,200 square feet, provided that upon approval of a conditional use permit pursuant to 1728-030, platting to a minimum of 1,800 square feet per lot may be allowed in conformance with the terms of a conditional use permit and the provisions of 1750-190. Where the proposed use would allow for individual units to be sold to individual home buyers, the application appears consistent with the purpose of the district. The city's current 2020 comprehensive plan lists the city's housing goals and policies, among which housing policy number 8 is to encourage and promote a wide variety of residential development types and densities in various parts of the city to meet the needs of a diverse population and provide for a variety of housing choices. Again, because the proposal would be allowed for the units to be sold to individual home buyers, the application appears to be consistent with the purpose of the comprehensive plan. The proposed site plan conforms to all city standards. Approving the application would not reduce the dimensional requirements of the district. There's no indication that allowing the units to be individually owned would create any nuisance to life, limb, or property as compared to if they were rented to tenants. Conditions. Should the hearing examiner approve this request for a conditional use permit, the city would impose the following conditions. Construction must meet all current construction and fire code requirements. Adequate parking shall be provided for Ocean Shores Municipal Code 1754-060. An approved storm drain design should be provided prior to any permits being issued. Landscaping shall be provided per Ocean Shores Municipal Code 1750-100 and shown on the plan. The subject parcel that is subdivided shall be given credit for 1 sewer utility assessment. Each new parcel created pursuant to the approval of this request shall be required to comply with the utility charge in lieu of assessment outlined in Ocean Shores Municipal Code 1728-025. As well, all system development charges for each parcel based on the requirement of Ocean Shores 1326-065. Similar conditions shall apply to water, ambulance, and stormwater services required to complete the project per the Ocean Shores Municipal Code. And that concludes the staff report. Your Honor, if it'd be okay, I would like to read in the one public comment that I had that came in via email.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
And, this is regarding the notice that was sent out to the public. The planning department has in the past used a template to start out this notice that goes out to the 300-foot radius. And in this particular notice, we failed to put the address in, only the parcel numbers, which led to a little bit of confusion or additional effort on the public being able to find the project and make a determination whether they wanted to participate in the hearing. My response to this inquiry were as follows. The addresses not accompanying the parcel numbers was an oversight on my part and is what is being remedied going forward for the exact reasons you stated. The common wall structure is not being proposed for, the other common wall structure that is being proposed is not being proposed for subdivision, so there's no requirement. This person commented that they had another common wall structure being built in the same vicinity as this one under review, but not all common wall structures are subdivided for individual ownership. It's only if you subdivide for individual ownership are you required to have a conditional use permit. So the reason the other one did not get a notice in a hearing is because they are not proposing at this time to undergo the process of subdividing for individual ownership. The 300-foot radius, there was a question about how we determine who gets a mailing notice for these types of hearings. The City of Ocean Shores Planning Department uses Esri ArcMap GIS software. We select the parcel that's under review, and then they have a tool in there that will select every other parcel within 300 feet of that parcel. And that's how the notices are selected to go out under the mailing. And this is being entered into the record to clarify any confusion that the notice may have provided. And that concludes my staff report.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Reed. I do have a couple of questions. The first of which is in the staff report, the lot size is listed as 8,688.15 square feet. I think the site plan shows it at 8,994. And I just wanted to make sure I just wanted to check and see whether there was something wasn't included or whether that was maybe just a typo.
Yeah, so the site plan dimensions are based on a physical survey of the property and exact measurements. The size shown in the project description of the staff report is derived from the county's geodatabase that gives approximate sizes of each parcel. And so if there's overlap or cutoff in that county geodatabase, our sizes tend to fluctuate one way or the other. If we were down to splitting hairs on whether the units exceeded the density requirements, we would go with the survey and the county's recorded plat document to determine that applicability.
Okay, but I don't think we're there. I think there's.
Yeah, we're not close enough to where I would have split hairs on this.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Reed. And then another question, the parcel is designated as residential high density in the comprehensive plan. There's a couple of different, there's just a few different designations noted in the staff report. So I just wanted to check.
Yeah, so the two different designations in the comprehensive plan, it's identified as high density.
Great.
And it's kind of interesting that Ocean Shores Municipal Code, when they talk about the R7 multifamily, they have densities that don't necessarily line up with the comprehensive plan definitions. So
okay.
You'll see high density and medium density used almost interchangeably between the comprehensive plan and the Ocean Shores Municipal Code.
Got it. Thank you. I appreciate that. And the last thing I have is in the city's recommended conditions under number 4, the landscaping, it says that the landscaping shall be shown on a plan. And I'm just wondering if you can clarify what plan that is.
So that will be on, it should show up in 2 places. That'll be on the clearing and grading plan that is applied for this parcel. And then it'll also be shown on the site plan for the building application. Great.
Thank you. I appreciate those clarifications.
Yep.
And I don't have any further questions for the city at this time. Does the city have anyone else wishing to present, or we can move to the applicant?
No, I don't believe, unless Michelle had questions or whatever. No.
Okay. And Mr. Butler, looks like you're here on behalf of the applicant. We can go ahead and get you sworn in. If you can raise your right hand. Great. Do you swear or affirm that you will tell the truth in the testimony that you give here today?
Yes, I will.
Great, thank you. And can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Yes, Larry Butler, LARRYBUTLER.
Great, thank you, Mr. Butler. And if you can start by just noting your role with this project, and then you can provide any additional information on the proposal that you would like me to know.
Yes, I was hired by the owner to provide the surveying services for the parcel and the development. Generating a site plan, showing all 3 units and the subdivided lands for the conditional use application. And then also following up with a short plat of the property, once we receive approval from you. And that will be generated and submitted and go through all those steps at that point. And as far as any testimony, I agree with Marshall Reed's testimony and concur with his conditions and agree to that.
Great, thank you. The only question I had for you was about the conditions, so you already answered that. I appreciate it. Is there anyone else from the applicant team that wants to testify today? Okay, and then it looks like there are a number of people both online and maybe in the room who want to provide testimony today. I'm not sure if this project or a different project, but I'll turn back to you, Mr. Reed, to maybe indicate whether folks are here for
Yeah.
either project.
Okay, yeah, we'll start out with those present in the room.
Great.
Is there anybody in the public here that would like to provide public comment for conditional use permit application number 2 of 2025? This is the trustee. Anybody like to?
I was planning to, I'm here to represent several neighbors that are within 50 feet of this project. But I think I have all our questions answered. We met on Saturday.
Okay,
I have no information.
okay, all right. So we've answered your questions
I believe so.
adequately. Okay, great.
so.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming in. Let's go to online and we roll those folks up there. Do we have anybody online that would like to testify on the trustee address, the 413 Trustee Street, CUP25 number 2?
I do see a couple people are raising their hands. Why don't we start with Mr. Bumrung Siri?
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Can you go ahead and raise your right hand? Okay, sworn in. Thank you. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in the testimony that you give here today?
Yes,
Great, thank you. And can you state and spell your name for the record, and then you can provide your testimony?
Derek Bumrungsiri, DEREK BUMRUNGSIRI.
Thank you. Go ahead.
All right, I am a property owner located within, I think, 30 feet of this proposed conditional use permit. Obviously, we're going through the conditional use permit because it does not necessarily fit within municipal code, and there's an ask here to do something a little bit different. My concern and opposition to this particular project stems from the nature of the homes that are on that street currently. Most of them are single family. Additionally, my concern relates to the land being subdivided and then potentially harming property values within the area. Also, the lot, if I recall correctly from the city planner, is that it is about 8,900 square feet. My concern with 3 different properties on that parcel of property is parking, which would lead me to believe that there could be cars parked on street, which would further reduce the livability of that location. So I am in opposition of allowing for this conditional use permit of a multi-use property subdivided on trustee. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Ms. Kackman?
Yes,
Great.
Catchment. Thank you.
And great. If you can raise your right hand, get you sworn in. Great. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in the testimony that you give here today?
I do.
Great. If you could go ahead and state and spell your name for the record, and then you may begin with your testimony.
Yes, my legal name is Kathleen Catchman, and it's spelled Kathleen. Last name Kahchman. And I am also a property owner within, I believe, 30 feet of this proposed location. I own the property at 476 Trustee Street. We have owned it for approximately 15 years now. And I agree with what Derek said. Derek and I actually own the property together. We're married. And just a couple of things that I'll add on top of what he said is that a 0.2 acre lot that's being subdivided makes each property extremely small. And I believe that the city has set forth property sizes the way that they are today to provide for the appropriate amount of space for each parcel. So subdividing those creates more space constraints. On Trustee Street, there are no sidewalks in this area. The street is commonly used for bicycles, pedestrians. It's common to see children running down the middle of the street during the day because honestly, it is a very quiet and safe space for children to run down the street in the middle of the day. If this property goes in as planned and we have 3 additional new neighbors in the area, that will result in overflow traffic that pours into the street, creating visibility and making it more complicated for children to be able to walk in the street. And I do believe that it takes away from the overall appeal of the neighborhood. Today on Trustee Street, there's rarely a vehicle that is parked on the street overnight because there is ample space for people, especially individuals who have vacation properties there, to be able to park in their driveway and have their friends, relatives, or additional RVs there to park as well.
Thank you. Are there other people online wishing to testify on this matter? Okay, if not, I'll go ahead and turn back to the applicant, Mr. Butler, if you had any further information or response that you wanted to provide, feel free to do that now. You do not need to, but feel free to.
Okay. Yeah, I would just like to add at this point, if this was going to be a rental property and not subdivided, there would still be 3 separate homes there. And you would have renters living there, and there wouldn't be a conditional use public hearing, therefore no public comment would be necessary. But in this instance, we're subdividing the property into 3 lots. The people that live there will own the homes, own the property. So there's a safety net there where usually people that own their home take better care of it, have better communications with each other and their neighbors. And also the parking, there should be 2 parking spaces allowed for each unit in the front and where it comes off of the street. I guess that's all I have to say about that.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Butler. And finally, I'll turn back to you, Mr. Reed, if you have any last thoughts on behalf of the city.
Yeah, to just respond a little bit to Derek and Kathleen's thoughts or opposition, and where the city Ocean Shores Municipal Code fits into that. The density regulations on these properties are R7, which in this case, without a conditional use permit, they could have put up to 4 units on this particular property and then rented those 4 units out as an apartment or a fourplex or townhouse. And this is a common misconception with these Commonwealth structure public hearings. They're not seeking permission to build the structure. The permission under the conditional use is to subdivide the properties for individual ownership. So by the Ocean Shores Municipal Code and the zoning that's existed on these lots, they're not asking to change the zoning or upgrade, and it will not have anything to do with transient rental use, which always seems to come up as a concern that people have. So this project, without the public hearing, kind of as Larry laid out, does meet the intent of the code. And to deny them use of that property for which it was zoned could be problematic to the city as far as an appeal.
Great. Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and adjourn this first matter. The comment period for this project does go through to the end of today, so I will leave the record open for any written comments that come in by the end of today. Mr. Reed can forward those along to me. I intend to issue my decision on this application within 10 business days of the record closing today. And with that, thank you all for your participation in this matter. And now we can turn to the next matter. The next matter is CUP25000003, which is a similar request for a conditional use permit to allow for a 3-unit common wall residential structure on an approximately 0.23 acre lot located at 659 Sunset Avenue Northeast to be subdivided to allow for individual unit ownership. In advance of this hearing, I received several exhibits, including the staff report prepared by city staff, the CUP application, and various notice materials. And I will go ahead and admit those exhibits into the record this morning. And Mr. Reed, are you presenting again?
Yes, I am.
Great. You're still sworn in. You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. This is another application for a common wall subdivision requiring a conditional use permit. The date submitted was May 9th, 2025. The date of the report is April 22nd, 2025. The purpose of this application is for a conditional use of a moderate single-family density zone property for the purpose of building a 3-unit common wall residential structure and subdividing it to allow individual ownership. The applicant, or developer in this case is Ocean Design LLC, located at 999 Discovery Avenue Southeast in Ocean Shores, Washington. The project name for this is Ocean Shores CUP project, Ocean Design CUP project. The legal address on this is Division 24, Block 12 and Lot 10. Physical address of 659 Sunset Avenue Northeast. And this is an approximately 10,000 square feet lot size. All surrounding properties are zoned R5 and R1. To the north, we've got an R5 5-plex and 6-plex zone property. To the south, R5, 5-plex and 6-plex. To the east, R1 single family, and to the west, R1 single family. So land use designation from the comprehensive plan to the north and south are moderate density, and to the east and west are single family. The existing land uses to the north and south, 5-plex, 6-plex undeveloped, and east and west are both undeveloped single family parcels. So the property is located in the northeast quadrant of Ocean Shores in a multiple use division surrounded by a mixture of residential, single family occupancy uses, triplexes, and multifamily uses, as well as undeveloped lots. There are several other multifamily structures in the immediate area. In the R5 zone, it is designated a conditional use for the development of a common wall residential structure wherein the underlying land is subdivided to allow individual ownership of the subdivided lot. Same Ocean Shores Municipal Code would apply to this. Notices were sent out on the same date, means we're having the same date for the hearing on Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, and were sent to the owners within 300 feet of the property on May 9th, as required by the code. Hearing information was also made available at the City of Ocean Shores website calendar at www.osgov.com. And then I've also attached notices of the public hearing and the mailing list. Notice to the public hearing was provided to the Daily World newspaper for publication in the editions May 6th and May 8th, 2025. Staff.
I seem to have lost the feed. Not sure if folks can still hear me.
Hey.
We have to go back to TV.
I heard, oh,
Oh, there we go. We hear you.
okay, I can't see your video feed. It cut out maybe 2 minutes ago.
Up on the bottom.
Okay, turn the video on. How is that?
Well, it's okay, there we go.
All right,
Okay.
my apologies. The switch is next to my foot.
Ah,
I thought I felt something click and that's what it was. I shut us
Okay.
off.
okay. So I think you were just started to talk about the analysis on this, and I apologize for not
Oh,
being
that's
able
okay.
to catch it more quickly.
Yeah, not a problem. So, yeah, we were starting the staff analysis. Staff has determined that this development project is listed as a conditional use for this zoning district in Ocean Shores 1724 conditional uses, section 030C, row house and other common wall residential developments. The subject property is located in an R5 zone. Multifamily dwellings are permitted in this zone with a maximum density of 1 unit for every 2,100 square feet of lot size. 1730-050, the density regulations. 2-family and multifamily dwellings shall have a minimum lot size of 2,100 square feet per dwelling unit. The property before the subdivision is 10,000 square feet. As such, up to 4 dwellings could have been built on this as a permitted use. The proposed building can be approved as a permitted use. The subject of this application is whether the land may be subdivided, so individual lots and homes may be individually owned as opposed to being rented to tenants. In 1752-050, the criteria for consideration of a conditional use permit. The hearing examiner must determine the use is applied for, that the use applied for is either listed in the conditional uses or allowed in the district, or that it is significantly similar. In this case, they are applying for something that is specifically listed. The conditional uses under D of 1724-030, row house and other common wall residential developments where the underlying land is subdivided to allow individual ownership of the lot and home, which is the subject of this application. Okay, because the proposed 4-unit multifamily would be a permitted use. In this case, it's a 3-unit being proposed. It appears consistent with the purpose of the district and the applicable provisions of the comprehensive plan and will not adversely affect other uses and properties in the immediate vicinity. The question is whether the subdividing of the land into individual lots would also be substantially consistent with the purpose of the district and the comprehensive plan. This district is intended for moderate single-family and multifamily dwellings in order to assure light, air, open space, privacy, and protection of property values while providing affordable housing in the community. The 2020 comprehensive land use map identifies the district as medium density as follows. Descriptions. These areas should be composed primarily of attached multifamily dwellings up to a maximum density of 24 units per acre. Housing types should include single-family, duplex, triplex, fourplex, 5-plex, and or 6-plex structures. Where the proposed use would allow for individual units to be sold to home buyers, the application appears consistent with the purpose of the district. The current 2020 comprehensive plan lists in housing goals and policies. Housing policy number 8 is to encourage and promote a wide range of residential development types and densities in various parts of the city to meet the needs of a diverse population and provide for a variety of housing choices. Again, because the proposed use would allow for the units to be sold to individual home buyers, the application appears consistent with the purpose of the comprehensive plan. The proposed site plan conforms to all city standards. Approving the application would not reduce the dimensional requirements of the district. And there's no indication that allowing the units to be individually owned would create any nuisance to life, limb, or property as compared to if they were rented to tenants. Should the hearing examiner approve this request for a conditional use permit, the city would impose the following conditions. Construction must meet all current building construction and fire code requirements. Adequate parking shall be provided as per Ocean Shores Municipal Code 1754-060. An approved storm drain plan should be provided prior to any permits being issued. and the landscape as per Ocean Shores Municipal Code 1750-100 and shown on the plan. The subject parcel that is subdivided shall be given credit for one sewer utility assessment. Each new parcel created pursuant to the approval of this request should be required to comply with the utility charge in lieu of assessment outlined in 1328-025, as well as all system development charges for each parcel based on the requirements of the Ocean Shores Municipal Code 1726-065, and similar conditions shall apply to water, ambulance, and stormwater services required to complete the project under the Ocean Shores Municipal Code. And that concludes this staff report.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Reed. I do have one question. This is similar, so I don't have a lot of questions, but I do have one question about access. So would vehicle access would be to the units would be on Sunset Avenue?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and then will there be other access? I know that there's, unlike the other previous project, there is a street that is on the other side of this parcel.
Yeah, the plat of this district does not allow for vehicle access to the Dolphin side of these projects. Unless there were extenuating circumstances. We do have one other property that was subdivided in a pie shape where the pie was on the cul-de-sac side and didn't lend itself to access. So we did allow access in consultation with the Public Works Department to the Dolphin side. This property does not have that problem, so we will require access only on the Sunset side.
Great, thank you. And Mr. Butler, I think you're here again for this project. You are still sworn in, so now is your opportunity to provide any additional information that you want me to know.
Again, I'm happy with Marshall Reed's testimony, and I agree, concur, and understand the conditions of approval.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Butler. Are there people, really quickly, I saw that there were a few chats in the chat. I can no longer see those since I had to leave. Typically though, if you have questions or want information, testifying or asking those questions via the video or hearing is best. So I don't see those questions anymore, but if anyone does have questions, you can just raise your hand and we can get you sworn in and you can provide questions and testimony. So are there people who do want to provide testimony on this project? Okay.
Yeah. We do have one in the room.
Great. Is there is the testimony going to be provided just from where you are? I can't quite see the room. I don't know if there's a podium or something. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. If you could raise your right hand. Great. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in the testimony that you give here today?
I do.
Great. And if you could state and spell your name for the record, and then you can go ahead.
My name is Lauren Taylor, and it's spelled L-O-R-E-N-T-A-Y-L-O-R. And I'm raising a concern, not about so much the division, but what the consequences of the division and all the divisions that have been going on that particular street are. I live on the south end of Sunset and will frequently drive up that road. And there are way too many cars that are parked. They're on the side of the road. That is a narrow, very narrow 2-lane road. And with more people coming in and more houses, there's children in the rental properties. There's no control. We may have 2 parking spaces, but there's no control over the amount of cars that the homeowner will have. And so it is causing congestion. I drive down at 10 o'clock at night and I have to swerve in between what's parked on the sidewalk on the street. We don't have sidewalks, so it's parked on the edge of the street. The property that you spoke about, that on the cul-de-sac that has access from Dolphin, that is probably one of the best things that has been done because there is nothing on Dolphin. There's no houses have access on that side. So maybe taking into consideration from here on out that some of those properties access from Dolphin rather than on Sunset will make it far more pleasant or safe for those of us who have to drive that street. And I'd be more than willing to take pictures at night and share them, or even today, I'll go back down there and share pictures, you know, of what it is like on that street, because it's not just that, it's the trash cans, it's the dumpsters, it's everything that's been put on that street by these multiple properties.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to testify on this matter? Okay. I'll turn back to you, Mr. Butler, if you have anything to add, and if not, then we can turn to Mr. Reed. Mr. Butler?
Yes, I frequently drive down Sunset Avenue myself. I've got several projects going on that street. And I'm aware of the parking situation you're talking about. It's towards the north end. There's a 3-unit apartment complex right there, and it seems like every time I've gone by there, there's vehicles parked right on the edge of the street, sometimes across the street from it. And then, but that's a rental property, not individual ownerships. The ones that we've subdivided so far, I have yet to see cars parked on the street in those locations. And then the other thing is that when they're being constructed, oftentimes you've got a truck roofing on the building, and the construction workers are parked along the street too. But once construction is completed, that should diminish.
Can I address that, please? There's no stopping those properties from becoming rentals. And also there's 1 or 2 properties along there that have been subdivided that have adequate space. But you have no control once you've sold them as to what people are gonna put in those driveways. There could be an RV there, there could be so many different things that could be placed that could cause an issue. I'm not saying that it will, but I'm saying the potential is there, and I would hope that the city would be aware of this potential issue that could arise from this.
Agreed. Would you like me to comment on that, Yoshi?
If you would like to, Mr. Reed, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. So the city is aware of the parking issues along Dolphin Avenue, and from a land use standpoint, we're providing all of the things that the code would require. Where I see this coming into, without throwing our code enforcement folks under the bus, this is more of a code enforcement issue to that street than it is for land use planning, because we're meeting all of the intents of the code and providing adequate parking for each one of these units. It's 1.5 spaces per unit that's required, and every parking space that gets cut in half, I round them up. So they're gonna have a minimum of 2 spaces in a fairly small unit. So, you know, we're doing our part on the land use side to provide adequate, you know, space for any vehicles that might be there. I understand what you're saying, but the same what if could occur on a single family residence, and we've seen that all over Ocean Shores. It does get to be a problem for the code enforcement officers because there is no on-street parking allowed. Everybody is supposed to be off-street on the property. There may have been one exception to the parcel that was and I don't believe it was subdivided. I believe it's the one all the way on the north end of Sunset Avenue, wherein they provided one on-street parking that is supposed to be off far enough where it's not impeding traffic. So, and I'm not sure how that's working out, if that's one of the problems that you've identified here. So we'll definitely work on that, and I will have a conversation with our code enforcement officers and see if we can't, you know, get some of the vehicles off the street that are not related to the construction activities going on in the neighborhood.
I have one more thing to add too, if you don't mind, Your Honor.
Sure, go ahead.
So the first 2 3-lot Commonwealth subdivisions that were done on Sunset, those have been sold, I believe now. Those were built closer to the road, and there's like maybe 2 parking spaces in front of each one of them, and then one more person could probably park behind those without impeding the street itself. But all of the ones since then, we have pushed back farther from the street, so there's way more parking spaces available on those. So all the newer ones that are going to be going in there, those are farther back on the lot, so there's more parking area in front of them, so.
Great, thank you. And then with that, I think I will go ahead and adjourn this hearing. Thanks to everyone for your participation today. Like the previous matter, the record for written comments will be open for the rest of today. And I intend to issue my decision within 10 business days. And I will go ahead and adjourn this hearing. Thanks to everyone and have a nice day.
Thank you, Your Honor.